All right, let's talk about the three big financial statements. You've got the income statement, the balance sheet, and then there's the other one. The one that's kind of seen as the most intimidating, the cash flow statement. But here's the thing. It's the one that tells you the real story of a company's money. It's the one that, well, it just can't lie.
You've heard this saying before, right? It's one of those classic business mantras. It gets repeated in meetings and classrooms like it's gospel. And, it makes sense on the surface. Profit is good. Profit means you're winning.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if a company could actually go completely broke while posting record profits? It happens. A business can look amazing on paper, with profits soaring, right up until the moment they have to shut everything down. So how on earth is that even possible?
Well, it all comes down to this really critical difference between profit and cash. You see, profit is kind of like a promise. Thanks to something called accrual accounting, you can book a huge sale the second you make it, even if the customer isn't going to pay you for another, say, 90 days. So on paper, you look great. But in reality, you can't pay your employees or your rent with that promise, with an IOU. Cash is the reality. It's the actual spendable money in the bank.
So to solve this mystery, this puzzle of profit versus cash, we need a special tool. We need a financial detective, one that's specifically designed to follow the money. And that detective, our hero for today, is the cash flow statement.
So why is this statement so often overlooked? Well, believe it or not, it's kind of the new kid on the block. I mean, way back in the 15th century, cash was simple. It was literally in a bag. But as businesses got more complex, people knew they needed something more. An early attempt in the 1960s, the fund statement, just didn't really stick. It wasn't until 1987 that the modern cash flow statement we know today was officially born.
So what is it really? Let's just boil it down. The cash flow statement is a report that shows you where a company's cash came from and where it went. That's it. It just tracks all the cash moving in and out over a certain time period, and it breaks it down into three main categories.
And these are the three magic sections that let us crack the code: operating, investing, and financing. Each one tells a totally different part of the story, but when you put them all together, you get the full picture of what's really happening. So let's dive into each one.
Okay, first up, and this is the big one, we have operating activities. Honestly, this is the most important section. It tells you if the company's core business, the thing it actually does, is generating cash. Think of it like your salary. It's the money you earn from your main job, your day-to-day grind. For a company, it's the cash it brings in from actually selling its stuff. So in the real world, this means we're looking at the actual cash received from customers, minus the cash paid out to suppliers for materials, paid to employees for their work, and paid to the government for taxes. This is the absolute engine room of the business.
Next, we have investing activities. Now, this part of the story is all about the future. It tracks how a company is using its cash to either grow or just maintain itself for the long haul. For you and me, this would be like buying or selling a house or a car. For a company, it's about buying a new factory or selling off some old equipment. And you gotta remember, this is a two-way street. Buying a huge new piece of machinery, that's cash going out the door. But selling an old building you don't need anymore, that's cash coming in. This section really reveals a company's strategy. Is it spending big to grow, or is it maybe selling things off just to raise cash?
And finally, our third section, financing activities. This piece of the puzzle tells us how a company gets its funding. It's all about the money flowing between the company and its owners, the investors, and its lenders, like banks. On a personal level, this is like taking out a student loan or paying down your mortgage.
So if a company sells new stock to the public or gets a big loan from a bank, cash comes in. If it pays back that loan or decides to buy its own shares back from the market, cash goes out. This tells you if the company is leaning on debt or its owners to keep things running.
Now, you might hear people talk about two ways to put this statement together, the direct method and the indirect method. But here's a pro tip. You really only need to understand one of them. As you can see, something like 98% of public companies use the indirect method. It's way more common because it gives you a really useful piece of information right at the top.
And this is what that indirect method looks like in a nutshell. This is where the magic happens. It starts with a number we all know, profit, right from the income statement. Then it makes a series of adjustments to take out all the non-cash stuff we talked about.
which gets us to the real, hard cash from operations. From there, you just add in the cash from investing and financing, and there you have it, the total change in the company's cash. It perfectly connects the promise of profit to the reality of cash.
Okay, so we've taken it apart piece by piece. But what's the big payoff here? Why should you care? What secrets is this financial detective actually telling us?
Well, it gets right to the heart of what matters. It answers the most fundamental questions. Can this business actually generate cash on its own? Can it really afford to pay its bills and its debts? Is there enough cash to pay dividends to its owners? Does it have the money it needs to grow? And it answers that original mystery. Why is the profit number different from the cash number? This is what separates a truly healthy business from one that just looks good.
At the end of the day, it's so helpful to stop thinking about accounting as just math. It's not. It's a language. And these financial statements, they're how a company communicates its story to the world. The numbers are just its vocabulary.
And by learning how to read the cash flow statement, you're becoming fluent in the most honest, unfiltered part of that language. You're cracking the code. So the next time you look at any company, ask yourself, now that you know the basics, what story is its cash really telling you?